Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back on Iracing, this time round for the new 2020 Season 4 content. Yes, 2020 Season 4 is just around the corner, as I'm sure many of you are already aware. We've got a couple of pretty cool cars coming for the road side of things. I don't think we've got any new road tracks, unfortunately. I mean, Hockenheim is still in the works, but I'm going to guess that is going to be a 2021 Season 1 release, but we have got the all-new Dallara LMP2 car, which I'll definitely be making a video on in the very near future. And also, the new Corvette CZ8. Yes, very, very excited to be driving this one. For those of you that weren't aware, the C7 was one of my favourite cars of all time in terms of endurance racing. I drove that thing pretty much in every event I ever did, back on like Forza 6 and on Project Cars 2. I mean, I've done Le Mans 24 in it, I've done Daytona 24 in it, I've even done the Mod 2.4s by myself, Daytona 2.4s as well. Yeah, very much, I've done pretty much everything in this. TORA TEC 6-hour events as well, back in the day. It is an absolutely fantastic car, so hopefully the C8 does live up to that as well. As you can probably already tell, I'm still not feeling 100% at the moment, but that's not going to stop us from trying to enjoy this all-new Corvette. Obviously, we're at Spa as well. You know, the next car in line to one of my favourite cars of all time. We've got to head to one of my favourite circuits as well for this one. But obviously, this is just going to be sort of our first little test drive of the car, get to grips with it, see how it handles. You know, I'm going to aim to try and use this over the course of Season 4 in either ILMS or IMSA. Haven't quite decided, obviously, which one yet I'll do. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both here and there as well. But obviously, I did do one out lap just to get to grips with the car, make sure everything was working on iRacing as normal. And instantly, this car, yeah, does feel rather good. Obviously, not running any sort of setups, anything like that. That'll be a few more weeks before they obviously get revealed as well. But obviously, yeah, we will hopefully get some setups for it ready for the new season. But here at Spa, though, always a good proving ground for new GTE cars. Obviously, quite a high downforce orientated circuit. iRacing has tweaked the downforce levels of all the GTEs as well, so I'm going to be intrigued to see where we see some differences from 2020 Season 3 as well. But yeah, first things first though, with this car, one of the first things, of course, I'm sure that pretty much everyone notices, is of course that huge TV screen that you get inside the car, obviously, for the rear view mirrors. Now, obviously, in real life, if you ever watched any onboards, obviously the C7R and this as well are very famous for having almost like that fighter pilot jet style attack display thing, obviously, where it could detect threats and things like that. It was very, very American. There's no denying that at the end of the day, but it was rather cool as well. So I don't know, obviously, when we get to some racing, whether obviously it will show that up as well. Obviously, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of BMW M8s in that rear view mirror. Obviously, the big boy, that is definitely going to be a rather big threat as well. But yeah, it's just obviously incredibly cool, and yeah, like I said, I'm intrigued to know whether we're going to see that added in as well, obviously, when we finally get down into some racing with this thing. But first impressions, not the best on the brakes. Now, that's probably me just being a little bit rusty on iRacing as well, but I found I wasn't quite able to carry the same sort of confidence on the brakes as some other cars. Now, that's probably going to change once we get back into some more racing, obviously, setups, everything like that. As you can see, just, ooh, traction control kicking in there through the bus stop chicane. But yeah, not the best on the brakes, I've noticed. Just a little bit sensitive, not quite like, you know, sort of the BMW and the Ferrari and the Porsche that obviously we've mainly driven so far on iRacing. The Porsche has normally been my go-to GTE car, in all honesty. I just find it very good fun. It does sound the best still. I mean, the Corvette, I'll give you guys a little bit of an audio track in just a moment. It doesn't sound bad by any stretch. I would probably, yeah, rank it just behind the Porsche. But it's certainly, yeah, not quite as good sounding as the Porsche. It was always the BMW that annoyed me with its horrendous sounding brakes. Everywhere it just squeaked. It never really just sounded all that good in my opinion. I know some people were quite a fan, but definitely didn't quite cut the mustard for myself here. But anyway, coming towards the end of the Camel Straight for our second lap. I've got no idea sort of what lap times we should be aiming for as well in this thing, so we'll have to wait and see as to how that all goes. Obviously, Spa famous for its track limits. Hopefully we won't get too many 1Xs today. Obviously, it doesn't really matter either as well. But yeah, 2020 Season 4 though, it's a bit of a weird update for the road users. It kind of doesn't really add a great deal in terms of raw content, but kind of changes everything in sort of a weird way. Now we've got this new GTE car and the LMP2, ILMS and IMSA are going to be much more populated, hopefully. So I might try and jump into some more sort of 45-minute, hour-long races. Obviously, GT3 might get a bit quieter again. The VRS sprints are probably going to be a little less populated this season round, but I'm sure still definitely going to have enough users. There's a new GTE Endurance series, some 90-minute races by yourself, though, which I'm rather looking forward to. I might try and dive into a couple of those if I get a chance. Obviously, nice to see that we're just getting a few slightly longer races. You know, I wanted to try and do like VRS sprints and stuff. I might still be able to get those done. Oh, sorry, the VRS Endurance series, obviously 3-hour races. A bit too long to do by yourself, and obviously you get DQ'd at the end anyway. So yeah, a little bit tricky with that, unless of course you set up a second iRacing account and all this, that, and the other, which is a lot of money. There's no denying that as well. But anyway, down in towards the final couple of corners on the finish of lap 2. So yeah, next season though, probably going to try and do a little bit of endurance, the GT Endurance series, and then a few other bits and bobs as well. Obviously, just try and dive into a bit more stuff, get more consistent on iRacing. Obviously, 2020 Season 3 with F1 2020 and everything like that was always going to be a bit difficult to try and get in as much racing as I would have originally planned to as well. But yeah, maybe 2020 Season 4 we can get into a bit more of a routine once again as well. Obviously, I'm doing a bit more GT Sport. I'm meant to be doing a little bit more Forza again as well. So there's certainly going to be plenty of racing content coming to the channel. Obviously, if that's something you're interested in, make sure you do get yourself subscribed as well. But yeah, up this camel straight though with no setup. We're still topping out at about 160 miles an hour, about 260 kph, which certainly isn't bad going by any stretch. It's certainly got enough poke there as we snag the brakes ever so slightly in towards the end of the camel straight. I'm going to give you guys a bit of audio. So yeah, it does still obviously sound quite good here on iRacing. iRacing, it's, you know, its sounds aren't quite the best thing in the world. You know, I'd certainly like to give this thing a go on Race Room, see what it sounds like over there. But I mean, at the moment, it is only on iRacing, and I think Project Cars 3 also obviously has this car as well. But that's certainly, yeah, not a topic that people like me to talk about, unfortunately, at the end of the day as well here. Yeah, good little handling car though. Certainly feel like you can get it gripped into the corners quite nicely. We'll try and go for one final attacking lap as well here as well. But yeah, good little fun car nonetheless. And, you know, I'm certainly going to be taking this out for a spin over the course of the new season as well. As we get nicely over the curbs through Blanchimont, give ourselves a straight run on the brakes. Slowly getting a bit more used to them, but they're still, yeah, definitely. Ooh, as we get big amount of traction bog out of the final corner, but certainly have to be careful about that. Can we change our TC? Yes, we can. We're going to try 1 on the TC. See if that's a little bit better. Because we'll go, yeah, for one final attacking lap then around here. That felt a bit more hooked up. Didn't quite get the run off the exit, unfortunately. But, yeah, just hopefully a little less traction control stops it bogging down as much. It doesn't feel too slidey. Is Eau Rouge pinned? Yes. Taking a lot of curb on the exit, but we do get it flat out. I think we've been doing that all the way through without even realising. Just obviously the GTEs, that little bit more downforce makes them a bit safer to take completely flat, unlike the GT3s on iRacing. This thing revs up, yeah, to about 7,000 RPM as well, just under, as we get a little bit deep once again at the end of the camel straight on the brakes. Just try and carry the speed as we head back down the hill here. Like I said, hopefully we can find a little bit of delta. Brake just on the outside curbing. We're not always sort of chucking in a little bit deep in towards the hairpin there, and then down through No Name, take a nice chunk of curb on the inside. Actually getting a really good run through there that time round. We need 3rd gear for Pouon, of course, to use the outside curb, down the 1 gear, clip the curbs on the entrance nicely, and then really try and carry as much speed on the exit as you can. Not quite able to get on the power as early as we were able to the lap before. Down here, braking just before the gantry. try and get it rotated over to the right-hand side and then flick it in to the left as well. Then make sure you use up all the exit curb as well. Then through Stavolo, just try and get on the power as early as possible. Got to be careful of iRacing's track limits. Completely pinned through the second part. No, we just clipped the grass on the entrance, which really did cost our run on the exit that time round. We're still a few tenths up though on our PB. Our best lap's an 18.0. So we'll see if we can try and set a 17 here. Obviously, I've just done a random test drive session, so it's not like perfect track limits and stuff like that. Getting all kinds of loose through Blanchimont here. But in towards the bus stop chicane for the final time, trying to attack those curbings on the inside. Gets close to trying not to get too much scrub on the exit. And down towards the finish line, it is going to be a 2:17, sorry, I should say. 2:17.961 there, but there we are. That is the new Corvette C8R, a very, very good fun little car as well. Like I said, I'm really, really excited to drive this thing over the course of the new season. Obviously, if you guys want to see some content from that as well, make sure you do get yourself subscribed. But yeah, we will be back very, very soon with more iRacing content, where next up, we give the Dallara a bit of a spin. You guys do not want to miss it.